Hello everyone, this is Cremechiss and I am here today with Sanket. This is Suri and we are back again with Liz this week, and this week we're going to talk about movies that sexually awoke us. Yes, yes. Any part of our teenage experience or even adult experiences that basically involved us realizing, oh my goodness, I think this is hot. I think he is hot. I think she reminds me of a time that I wish I was in the movie instead of her, or pretty much anything that I don't know made us embarrassed in front of our parents. I guess we'll talk about that as well. But by all means, do like, share, subscribe this video, comment on it, tell us what you liked about it, and check out our other videos as well. And I think we are going to start with Sanket's pick first. And this is not in any particular order, right, Sank?
I thought it should be chronologically, like we start from puberty, something like that, to
This
make our
was
list about lust.
embarrassing. This is so stupid. Start from
Something.
puberty. Okay, okay, okay. I can
Yeah.
get with that.
It shouldn't it shouldn't be of any order or so because it's sex that we're talking about, right? And like it's not like uh we're talking about it because nobody else in the internet is talking about sex,
Yeah,
right?
because yeah, sex is like so underspoken about, like such an underrated topic.
Yeah.
Like clearly 365 days is not the trending movie on
Yeah.
Netflix. But that's our problem. And now, thanks to us discussing about it, it's your problem too. So here we go.
Yes, but unlike 365 days, we are gonna be diverse about it, right? Because you're going to talk about, I'm guessing, I'm just assuming that you're going to talk about males and I'm going to talk about women, right?
Hey, you never know.
Oh, okay, okay,
You
okay.
never know.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry
Okay.
for presuming.
Also, I
All
think
right.
a person who lusts after Hrithik Roshan should not be making presumptions about what sexually awoke me. Just saying. Just saying. Okay.
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 So, okay, to start off with, if given a choice, I wouldn't need three, I don't want to list three movies. If given a choice, I would just pick Hrithik Roshan, Hrithik Roshan, Hrithik Roshan.
That sexually awoke you. You would pick Hrithik Roshan. Okay. I have nothing to say to you or to anybody.
Hey, he was a massive part of my life, okay? Like most of my most of my adolescence is about me trying to mimic him.
I'll tell you something. My parents were very like nosy, and every time, like I would like find newspaper clippings and stuff like that, and I would definitely. I had one of Hrithik Roshan where he's just longingly staring in the distance. He's worn a suit and a shirt, and there's a newspaper clipping of that somewhere in my desk drawer, probably even today in my room back home. And my mom is like, "Oh, you like Hrithik Roshan?" And I said, "What?" And I'm just like hanging out, like chilling, doing my homework. And I get this random attack of, like what I like or who I like. And she's like, "See, I found Hrithik Roshan's picture in your drawer." And I'm like, "Don't you think there's a reason why it's in my drawer?" So I don't know. I feel like I have transferred that that privacy of like liking Hrithik Roshan like so much, where like I only liked him in my mind just so that no one could enter my mind and pull out his picture. But yeah, I see what you mean. Anyway,
Okay.
number one.
Number one. Number one for me, I'm gonna start off with the movie. I think the first mainstream movie where I saw nudity. And I'm talking about American Pie, Beta House. Okay, not the first American Pie. Beta House was my first movie where you know, I saw nudity, and it kind of blew our minds because before that it was for 14-year-olds. Before that it was just porn where we saw boobies.
My God.
So I think Beta House is that movie which sort of opened a big world for us, where we saw characters who thought like us, who would have that is what we imagined college to be, where they didn't their daily lives didn't include as much of uh, lectures and studies, as much as getting their uh, ass signed by a stripper or something of that sort. So it was like Godfather for us at that point. At that point, if you would have told me, watch Godfather, I would have been like, yeah, but like here's Jason Biggs trying to screw a pie. Why is it? Why is that? Why is Godfather better than this?
I hate that this is your sexual awakening. This makes me so angry and sad all at the same time.
No, in the sense like, so for us 13-year-old kids, uh, we didn't know that movies could do something like that, right? Like the kind of sex that we used to watch, that we experienced in movies, in these sex comedies, were isn't it fascinating that something like that was titillating? Like when we see those scenes now, it is just you might look at it in a very very vapid way, or
Yeah, cringe.
anything but titillating, right? But
Yeah,
imagine like 13-year-olds watching that,
yeah.
and seeing those characters who think exactly like them, who just want to go to college just to have fun. And then we actually go to college and realize that it's nothing like
It's
that.
nothing like that. Oh my God. I know. Movies ruined college for me. I'll be honest with you. The, the kind of fun that happens in like college. Of course, I mean, I used to see Ishq Wish can think, oh my God, college is going to be like that, or, some shit like that. But I don't know. I always felt that college was very boring. For the most part, you're just trying to like get grades and get out of there. Uh, I don't think it is anything like oh my God, we're going to do like so much. We're going to have so much fun. Although that's not true for you and me, is it? Because we met in college and I don't know. Those were the better part of my teen years, the lesser awkward part of my teen years.
Yeah, but I didn't have any encounters where I needed to do stuff to a pie.
Yeah, that is also true. And also all of us lived with our parents. So I
Well,
would really
Jim,
like to know how that is possible.
well, it was possible for Jim. He also lived with his parents.
I know, but Jim is Jim. Okay. Jim is like he's legend.
Yeah. But
Uh,
yeah. So American Pie, only because the way they used to, it was for us, it was Pawn with the best stories ever.
I see. I
So
wonder.
that's
I
the reason.
wonder if I saw American Pie very late in my life, so it. I don't think a lot of it made sense to me as an adult. I just thought they were funny. But
Yeah. By the way, I'm talking about Beta House, which was the first American Pie that I saw. And I can argue to death about this movie being on par with the original three American Pie movies. This movie has got everything. This movie, obviously, like, we went on a rabbit hole of sex comedies after that. But even if I see it today, I don't know if it's for nostalgia value or whatever, but I enjoy it quite a bit. Like, it has everything that you want from a sex comedy. It has like a lot of fun and games are revolving around uh revolving around the shenanigans that these teenagers are up to when they go to Beta House. So I love Beta House as much as I love the original three movies.
I see. Um. Okay.
Yeah,
My number
cool.
one.
Yeah.
So okay. I'm going to give some context to this. Okay, there was a cartoon character called Johnny Quest that I was madly in love with, and I never realized I was madly in love with that character till a while. Then this was a science fiction type cartoon show that used to show up on Cartoon Network, and I don't know why, but I remember that cartoon so vividly even today as an adult. Like, and I think that was like my first crush, like me realizing that, oh, like I like this boy. And I
Oh,
think, yeah, it
oh,
was,
sorry. I thought,
you thought Johnny Bravo? No, I'm talking about
yes, I
Johnny
was thinking
Quest.
Johnny Bravo. I was like science fiction. Who?
Mama, no, not Johnny Bravo. It's Johnny Quest, and the human that made me realize I had a crush on Johnny Quest was Draco Malfoy. So that was, I think, the
Ah,
advent or the beginning of what I consider like, oh my God, he is like he's like so alluring. And for the longest part of my teen years, I never understood why everybody was crazy for Daniel Radcliffe. Everybody wanted Harry Potter, at least around me. Of course, as I grew up as an adult, I met other like-minded adults who were like, "Oh no, Draco Malfoy all the way!" Like like totally Draco Malfoy. And I realize now that this has happened during the years in school where I was the nerd girl who got good grades and like at least by Indian standards was the good daughter or whatever. And for whatever reasons, I was always made to sit with a guy who was struggling a bit academically. And he was always wonderful. Nothing like the way the teachers painted them out to be. Nothing like how like I don't know. Some Indian teachers will just try to vilify a student for the sake of vilifying them. Yeah, they were struggling academically, but that was not their fault. They were just they needed help, and they were some of the nicest people, the nicest friends I had growing up. And I think somewhere in my mind, I thought that Draco Malfoy could change because my friends, who were considered bad people were actually good people underneath. And I think that's what it kind of transpired over there, like constantly making me sit with like, oh, he's like a bad guy. Like, I think somewhere that kind of translated that, oh, Draco Malfoy is not actually bad. Like he if he's with the right person, I'm sure, his good side will come out and stuff like that. So I I don't know. I think like I think Johnny Quest and Draco Malfoy, like in my brain, like they look so similar. Like in my brain, like that makes sense to me that was my first ever um the idea of being like in love with someone, not as a friend, not to hang out with, but just to like longingly stare at, to the point where whenever Draco Malfoy didn't show up in the movie, I would be like, okay, let's get this over. And
so
the older he got, the more handsome he got. So I don't know.
so you have one more thing common with Emma Watson because she she uh
Mhm.
she had a crush on Draco
Oh,
Malfoy, Tom Felton when they were filming the movies.
she used to call him like uber suave or uber cool or something. And I thought that was so accurate because he was in his interviews, to see that switch go off where he's just playing a character and otherwise he's like this very lovable person, who like is like giggling and laughing like all the other kids, who are like good kids in the movie. I thought I don't know, it made me love him so much more, like so much more. Like for me in the thing, it was always Draco Malfoy, Ron Weasley's brothers, and Daniel Radcliffe was like somewhere way in the end. Like it's like if I absolutely had to have a crush on somebody like last, it would be Daniel Radcliffe, because I always thought that Harry Potter was like presented more like big brother energy than a crush energy. I don't know, but yeah,
That's gonna
I
change, by the way. That's gonna
really
change once you see him doing the Al Yankovic movie. Did you see the poster?
I saw the poster. I'm very excited for it, and to be honest, I'm very very surprised that he's doing this movie.
Yeah. If you see, like he's out of all three, he's chosen to do the most varied characters after Harry Potter. Please, anyone who's interested to know how varied he can get, please watch Swiss Army Man, where he plays a guy sort of like a robot whose superpower is that he can fart his way out of the sea. He's basically a human farting motorboat. So that kind of variation he has done in his career. And yeah, I'm really excited for the Al Yankovic.
That I really, really, really like about the whole Draco Malfoy situation is that th- there are certain characters I think that you kind of love map on as you grow older, and then you kind of base your crushes on that person. And I noticed like a trend set about because of Draco Malfoy. Like Zac Efron's crush in my mind, I think it exists because of Draco Malfoy. Every person that I had like a crush on exists because of Draco Malfoy. And I think there is, I don't know, there is so much joy and love in that. Like, and you'll understand what I'm saying when I talk about the second movie that I want to talk about.
All right, we'll get to that after my second pick,
Yes, please.
which is a sort of an obscure movie. I don't think a lot of people have seen it, but a lot of people might have heard about it. It's this French film from 2013 called Blue is the Warmest Color. Uh, so if you haven't seen this, it stars uh, two of the biggest French actors working right now. But back in 2013, they weren't that big. I'm talking about, I don't want to pronounce her last name. It's Adele. Her last name starts with E. That's all I'd say. And Léa Seydoux. The back in 2013, they weren't big names, but the way they've played the characters in this movie, it doesn't feel like they are amateurs in doing that, because this movie, let me just tell you, with all the passion and everything that this movie does, it does uh it does things that it does everything that's amped up to 11. You know, if they're talking about love, they're talking about passion, they're talking about, even in the fights that they do, they always go, they always go over the top with it. And the same thing happens with the sex scenes here. I have never seen sex portrayed like this. I have never seen, like, let alone lesbian sex done like this. So it's not just that it's sexy and passionate and anything, or anything like that. It's just that the way they've shot the sex scenes, the way they've shot their passion, it feels very it feels like they both are very determined, passionate characters in all. And I don't want to spoil much, but everything that happens in the movie, right up till the end, you get to know how much these two are into each other. So this movie had an infamous 5 minute sex scene between the two characters, and the director drew a lot of flack because a lot of people thought that it wasn't as necessary. But I don't know, when I saw the movie, I thought it was very much important, because everything that led up to those scenes, the scenes that happen after they start their relationship, I don't know, it felt like it was needed, because these are sort of, I don't know, characters that uh, they felt like characters who don't want to live life as it is. And you get to see that in these characters. The actors have done a fabulous job in playing them. Uh, I think it's one of the best films that I think it's one of the best films that have French films that have come out in the last decade. It's called Blue is the Warmest Color. Have you seen it?
I've seen it. I think it's a very beautiful film. If anybody likes, I don't know, I think gentle storytelling, it's a really good place to start. Um, I never understood why that scene got so much controversy though. I didn't understand why. Like, I feel like we've seen far more gratuitously graphic things before, that scene, before that movie even existed in other movies. So I don't quite understand what the issue was. But yeah, I see what you mean. I can completely see why that would be part of your journey because it is it's very unique. I saw it very late in life. I think you were the one who recommended me to watch it. I saw it very late in life over like I think you told me over and over again over a couple of years, and then when I finally watched it, I could see why you were recommending it so much because it is about genuine intimacy, and you can't bring that so often on screen in a way that makes you feel like, oh wow, like this makes me feel like a particular way. It makes me feel so fuzzy. It's kind of like the before trilogy storylines, right? Like it makes you feel a particular way. So you feel like really happy. You feel very um I don't know. It's very gentle storytelling. So again, I have no idea why that scene had like so much controversy around that scene. Like I have no idea. Like if you type in that movie, maybe after the Wikipedia hit, you'll only get discussions about that scene. And I don't know, various versions of that scene have existed, which are
because
not that
because they're
great,
yeah
I guess. I don't know.
because okay, you might see it as outrageous because maybe of the length or something and everything that happens in that scene. But like I said, these characters uh, are of that type. And talking about like representation, man, like we've seen years of
Yeah,
heterosexual scenes,
yeah,
and the way I think the way he shot the scene feels like it feels a very, it feels like novelty, at least for me.
yeah. I think so too. I think it's the length. I think it's because I think I think this is why that scene is so genuine, right? Because I want to believe that when, like, see, pick any Ashton Kutcher film, for example, right? So an Ashton Kutcher film where he goes on a honeymoon or something with his wife, uh, like I forget what that
Just
movie is
Married?
called. Just Married, yeah. And they basically are like talking to each other for 2 minutes, and then suddenly he's kissing her, and then suddenly their clothes are off, and the scene is done. And I think
Oh yeah, like they're in they're under the moon or something, right?
yeah. And no, this is the first meeting where they meet for the first time, and like
Oh
she's
yeah.
in his arms, and they're up against the wall, and then suddenly their clothes are. Like I feel like the audiences are so used to like instant gratification, where it's like, oh my god, like they can say, oh my god, they did sex. Okay, let's all now move on from the scene. And I think the more those scenes got fed into our minds, the more common it became, right? That becomes the more accepted version of intimacy. Like some of the most beautiful sex scenes, or the most forget sex scenes, even the most intimate scenes I've ever seen are these like the one between Tabu and Irfan in Namesake. It's
Oh.
again, it's very fast paced, but my God, even Irfan Khan called it like, my God, that was so violent, and not violent to the point of like inflicting pain on another person, but to the point of like wanting a person in such a way, to want them so much that it comes through on the scene, like in the scene. And I think that's what happened with Blue being the warmest color, where it's about that intimacy translating in a way where you feel what happened, like you understand what the characters went through. And I think that's why that scene is like, if you've not watched it, guys, please give it a go. It's a very unique film. You won't like unlike the Draco Malfoy thing from Harry Potter, you will find versions of Draco Malfoy in several movies, but Blue's the Warmest Color is like it's a very unique film. So I don't know. unique characters.
Yeah. I always look for, like, when I watch European films, I think one of the main reasons why I watch them is to get something that's very different from the usual films that we consume. And European movies, I think they're all what they do, some like, even if the story and overall we might not always like, but you have to admit that they always try to do something new
Yeah,
with things.
something
Yeah.
not necessarily different for the sake of different, but translating like actual human emotion in a way that makes you feel something. You don't have
Yes.
to like it. You don't have to agree with the storytelling. You don't even have to
Yes.
consider it, but you will feel something if you watch it.
And whatever thing that you're getting out of this conversation, let me just tell you, the sex scene is still very, very, very sexy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
they've done a
Um,
fabulous job.
yeah. So my second pick is Cruel Intentions.
I
Um,
haven't seen that.
it's okay. My recommendation is watch it. Is it a deeply flawed, deeply toxic film about toxic people? Yes, it is. But come on, I was a teenager. I didn't know any better. Or did I? It's
Toxicity,
mhm.
that that is uh, that is a king for a lot of people, right? Toxicity. So I don't
Toxicity is
blame
a
you.
kink for a lot of people, but I'll tell you why this movie stuck with me. First of all, Reese Witherspoon. Okay, she's just she's perfect in this film. I love all her movies. Like I love Legally Blonde. I love the what's the Big Little Lies thing that she did. I haven't seen a single
The Big
movie or
Little
a show.
Lies, the Big Little Lies thing that she did was called Big Little Lies.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Uh, Great, wonderful. Now that you've had your dad moment, I um I've not seen Reese Witherspoon do anything which is like, oh my God, that was like so boring. Like generally she does a very very good job, and this was like no exception to the rule. Very very good job. And the reason this movie has like kind of weirdly stuck with me because growing up in a culture where sex is like so taboo, you don't talk about sex, you don't even consider sex, as a viable discussion, even with your friends, right? Like I remember if somebody cracked like a double meaning joke in school, and if it was a girl, that girl would get like banished from the friend circle. Like it would be like, yeah, she's not a good girl, like she's like making like double meaning jokes, and like she knows what sex is and blah blah blah. And it's very easy to get ousted from a circle or from a community because you talk about or you joke about sex. So this movie was very different because one, it was not about adults, because I think up until then I had only seen movies with like erotic themes with that had adults involved. This was about teenagers like I was a teenager. And there's this one dialogue of Reese Witherspoon's character where there's a unique trait about her where she wants to wait to have sex still. So up until this point in my life, I've heard, oh, people, get married and then they have sex, like, but she said, I'm not going to have sex till I'm in love. And I'm waiting for love to have. And I thought that blew my mind, that why marriage, why can't you just fall in love with the person? Like what does marriage necessarily prove about your morality or the other person's morality or the truth or the honesty of your love for each other or anything? And I thought that was so sweet, and it kind of like switched on a bulb in my mind about demisexuality and like being and understanding a massive part of my sexuality as well, where I couldn't like or love a person in a way that would be considered epic or truly like honest genuine love um till I knew that this is a person that I care very deeply for. And I think that movie kind of that switched that on for me. And the scenes, the scenes between her and the hero, I forget the hero's name. I think he was her
Is
real life
it
husband for a while.
Ryan Philly?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 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 that was him. And he plays like this complete obnoxious douchebag of a character. And and when I was watching the movie, I was like, my God, why do you want to be with, like, I was completely against, her falling for him. I'm like, oh God, he's going to break your heart. He's a complete asshole. And I think that there comes this moment of clarity in his mind where he falls for her. And he has like a bet or a challenge. Like, it's kind of like she's all that but toxic. So he has a bet with his stepsister, which is again very creepy, that he's going to seduce Reese Witherspoon, and if he wins, then he gets to have sex with his stepsister. Like, it is so creepy on so many levels. Like, I can't even begin to explain why I was rooting so much for Reese Witherspoon to not be with this guy. But something happens, and he gets a moment of clarity where he realizes he doesn't want to be with his stepsister. He doesn't want to treat Reese Witherspoon as a conquest either. He's in love with her. And there's a scene where she's like coming up the escalator to see him, and he kisses her like with genuine intent, not to like seduce her, not to play games. And there's a beautiful love scene between them, which I also like a lot. Um, and this is like a section of my sexuality which wasn't about a person. Like, it wasn't about attraction to a person, but it was about attraction to the concept of having clarity about sex or about making love, where you're not, because everything I'd watched up till then was about two people getting drunk, two people chaotically falling in love with each other and suddenly making out. This was about informed decision making and informed knowledge that you really want this person and you really want to kiss them, like knowing that, right? Like, it's nothing spur of the moment, like, that. And the build up of that was like, that was so attractive to me, and it still is one of those. First of all, Bittersweet Symphony was like constantly playing because of that movie. But um, if you think about the concept of demisexuality or attraction because of clarity of thought, that you want this person because of you and your choices, not because of them, right? Because if you ask a person like, oh, why do you love this person? Technically, there is no reason. You can list all the things that are good about them, but that's not why you love them. You love them because you love them. And I think that movie kind of brought that out in me about that section of sexuality. Not claiming I'm demisexual or something like that, but I'm saying if there is a spectrum of sexuality where that exists in my mind, definitely that, flipped a switch and made me understand what attraction is, why it exists, why you need to be very clear headed about liking a person rather than just chaotically jumping into it for the sake of it. Like, actually understand who the person is and then fall for them. I don't know. I think that is just beautiful. And like, it still makes me smile, like, as an adult.
You know, demisexuality is also what you'll call after you after you experience demi more in Ghost.
Sure, sure.
Or Indecent Proposal, like whichever sails your boat,
For me, again, speaking as a hetero, because I can only speak as a hetero at this point. It is Demi Moore in Ghost over Demi Moore in Indecent Proposal any day.
Yeah,
Any day.
because you also had Hangover of Dirty Dancing, no? Patrick Swayze was in it.
No, not really. It's just the way she is in Ghost, man. She has like short hair, like the pixie cut, and she's like, artsy, and like she's all
Oof,
sexy with her art and her pottery. And there's something
oof.
like, why the hell do I look like a fucking mushroom when I have pixie cuts? And she looked like stunning, stunning when she had it. I look like the character from Mario Kart. What's it called? Um, that mushroom character? I think it's called. I forget what it's called, but that's what I look like
Penis?
when I'm a pixie cut. And
Penis?
not, why would it be called penis in Mario
I
Kart?
don't know. I don't play because said mushroom, so that's the first thing. When it comes to phallic shaped vegetables, it's
No, thank
mushroom
you.
only, no?
Please, let's end this discussion right now. So
Okay.
let's go to your next pick.
I had another Reese Witherspoon joke I had.
Or I don't want it, but okay.
What if Reese Witherspoon decides to have pizza with her hand?
Who cares?
Reese without her spoon. No, no. Okay, this you can edit out.
Can I? No, I will keep it in because I think people need to know what I have to put up with to get through these recordings and all the passion and all the heart I have to put up with you and your nonsense jokes to get through these recordings. When we started out this recording, he said, "Oh my God, you look so exhausted." And I said, "Yeah, maybe like I didn't sleep well. Like I had a rough night. I didn't like, I don't know, I had trouble sleeping, but I think it's because I knew we were recording today and I was like, oh my God, he's going to have like some dumbass jokes that I'm going to have to put up with. And that's what this is. That's why my exhaustion.
This has to be the most unsexy conversation about the sexiest things.
That's true. But that's our brand. Call us to unsexy things. Too much sexual tension in the room? Call Sunken Suri.
Better call Cremechiss.
Better call Cremechiss. Too much sexual tension between you and your roommate? Call Cremechiss. They will make sure that you see each other as siblings by the end of this conversation. But yeah,
All right, cool.
the next pick of Sank is
I'm gonna pick probably the best use of sex in an erotic thriller. And I'm talking about obviously 365 days.
what?
360. Okay, hear me out. 365 days has got the best use of sex. I think it is the quintessential example of how. Okay, fine. I can't do this.
Are you
Sorry.
serious? Oh,
Of
that was
course,
a
I was.
fake out?
Yeah, I was
God,
kidding.
I was like 365 days is quintal. 365 days is
I
365
tried.
days.
I
It
tried.
cannot be sexual awakening. It is sexual period. That's it. There is
I
nothing
tri-
else happening in that movie.
I tried, but then even I couldn't. Even I couldn't complete the
I
sentence
want to
without a
insert the
straight face.
picture of the guy grabbing the girl by the neck in the shower. He grabs her now by the neck from behind.
Oh yeah, and that's
I'm
also
going to
supposed to
insert
be
that picture
sexy.
over here. And then I'm going to show you lurking in the background over there.
That movie passes off a lot of things as excusable. Okay, fine. We'll talk about how much we love 365 days in maybe some other video. But today is not that day. So my third and final pick is probably the best erotic thriller of all time. And it is Sharon Stone's Basic Instinct.
Okay. I saw this coming from a mile.
Of course, like why would you select
A
anything else other
mile.
than Sharon Stone?
As a
Sharon Stone,
woman,
and
I endorse this.
yes, she is probably the biggest sex symbol that we have uh, of all time, maybe. Like there's like Marilyn Monroe, Ursula Andress, and then there's Sharon Stone, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, and special shout out to our beloved Zeenat Aman.
Oh yeah.
That is a sex symbol that has not been toppled in Indian cinema. She is the sex symbol. Insert
Yeah.
pic of Satyam Shivam Sundaram right about now, boys and girls.
And thank God for her doing her movies in the 70s because she wouldn't they
Oh
would
yeah,
just ban her today
yeah.
for
They
her
would ban her today.
sexuality.
They would ban her for underboob. For underboob. Anyway.
Okay, fine. All right, fine. So obviously Sharon Stone, biggest sex symbol, and what do you do with it? Make her star in the biggest erotic thriller of all time. Basic Instinct, the reason why I say is the best erotic thriller is because there are movies these days which pass off as erotic thriller where they have a thriller and they have a few sex scenes, sprinkled around
Yeah.
throughout the movie. But what is great about Basic Instinct is that it gives you it is a prime example of an erotic thriller, because an erotic thriller is basically a thriller whose main motivation for the character is sex, and everything in the movie revolves around that. It has to be e- any character motivations or anything to do in the movie has to do with sex. And oh, Basic Instinct passes in every single aspect of that. uh so Michael Douglas in the 80s and 90s was famous for these kind of roles. He did Fatal Attraction. He did that movie with Madonna. I forget the name. And there was this. I think in one of the interviews, he even mentioned that one of the reasons for his oral infection was because of the actresses that he gave cunnilingus to in all of his movies. Did you know that?
What?
Yes, said that in an interview.
My God, why?
Yeah, something like that. Okay, but yeah, this movie belongs to Sharon Stone. It uses every part of her sensuality, and it uses it so well. Like this movie doesn't work if Sharon Stone doesn't if she doesn't give her A plus here. Every single thing. Like, tell me a more iconic scene than the commando scene, where she goes commando in that interrogation scene. Tell me
I
more
see what you
iconic. Yes, and that scene only works because of Sharon Stone. Anyone else, it would have failed. The sex. Let's come to the sex. Uh, for me. It's a perfect blend of passionate love making
mean.
to actually being scared of what's going to happen. Like, it's such a great example of an erotic thriller, right? You're watching the sex scene,
I
which
think we're
is
discovering Sanket's kinks. He likes to be scared when he's turned on. Fear is
because
your kink.
so when she's doing it with Douglas, you are in constant fear of what she's going to do, because she has killed people in that very bed, right? So when she takes her when the camera zooms at her hand, going below, like going under the pillow, you're expecting that, sorry, going under the sheets, you're expecting that she's going to take out a knife, but no, she's actually into it. And I'm not going to spoil what happens towards the end of the movie,
Yeah, because
but
clearly nobody over here has watched Basic Instinct. So, yeah, we cannot spoil it under any circumstances.
because it's a 30-year-old movie, so people still get off on 365 days. Why do you think 365 days is always trending on Netflix? Because people haven't seen Basic Instinct.
You know
If
what? You're right.
Yeah,
You're spot on about that.
yeah,
Basic
this
Instinct, Sliver, they were all those
oof.
movies that and I don't know why people haven't watched it. Like, it surprises me even today. Like, the whole 50 Shades of Grey thing, the elevator scene, that's from Sliver. That, not the elevator scene, but the act that happens in the elevator.
No. The elevator thing happens in Fatal Attraction.
Oh, yeah, that happens in Fatal Attraction. But then, the part where, like, he challenges her and then she's like, see, I did it. And I don't know, there is so much of this has been like copied. Whatever we are seeing today, like, it has been copied off a copy off a copy. Like, and
Oof.
Basic Instinct definitely set the wheels in motion for
And
sure.
nobody does. So I was born in 1992, and whenever people ask me, what's your best film from 1992? It's not Reservoir Dogs. It's not Wayne's World. It's Basic fucking Instinct.
Oh, I like Reservoir Dogs. Why? Because they're like wearing suits and they call each other by colors, and like, that's hot to me. That's what
Yeah,
I like.
but does Reservoir Dogs, does it have a scene where Wayne Knight is dumbfounded by Sharon Stone's tutu?
First of all, first of all, you wouldn't see any of them cross and uncross their legs in a sexy manner, okay?
Oof.
Give Reservoir Dogs a chance to be sexy. while they sit and uncross their legs. Okay.
Yes.
But no, I see what you mean. And I saw this coming from a mile. I would have been very surprised if this was not on your list because even, I mean, for me, it's not necessarily about sexual awakening. It's just about like prowess, man. Like, imagine being such a siren that you know you are headed to your death. Like, cause she's the ultimate definition of a siren, right? Her character. Like, you know,
Yeah.
she's bad news. You know, she's gonna kill you one way or
What's
the
that? Female spiders do that?
other. Yeah, black widows,
Black
uh,
widows, yeah.
praying mantis, the female
Yeah.
praying mantis does
Praying
that too.
mantis.
You'll bite off the head while you're having sex with the spider, whatever, and continue having sex with the corpse, and then literally discard of it like it's nothing. So the talk about siren, we had this amazing video about Hibaro, guys. If you have not checked it out, do check that one out. The ultimate
Yes.
definition of a siren, where you are headed to your death if you fall for this woman, but like the perfect definition of the man eater, the concept of a man eater. Like I don't think I have seen better since then. Like
So,
better.
by the way, if you're talking about Hibaro, then like if there was a if you're talking about like sensuality,
Yeah,
Hibaro for TV shows, she would make the list, right?
absolutely.
Oh,
100%.
by the way, please watch our video. Even if you haven't seen Netflix's Loved Up in Robots' episode Hibaro,
Yeah,
trust you can watch our episode itself. We have done a scene by scene, frame by frame recap of
yeah.
the episode.
Of Hibaro.
So
And if you can't find it, it's because it's spelled as Jibaro, Jabaro, which we have called it in that video.
yeah,
But it's like it's literally a modern retelling of Basic Instinct in many ways but you know what? It the siren in that falls in love. She falls in love in that one.
yeah. It's like
But
the opposite of Basic Instinct, right?
yeah, yeah. There is something about siren storytelling, in my opinion, which I think Basic Instinct is still on the top of the food chain even today because there is siren, and then there is Sharon Stone being Sharon Stone. There's this interview with her and Sebastian Stan where Sebastian Stan is just like, I've just seen you all my life, and now you're sitting here next to me, and he was just asking her out and hitting on her, and the host is like, oh my god, you're going for it. Like he didn't care that there were hundreds of cameras in around him, and he was going to get rejected. Obviously, it's Sharon Stone. She's not going to accept him. She's not going to accept anybody. It was like, I think it was one of the most like adorable interviews I've ever seen because it wasn't necessarily about the character. It was about this woman who has done like a splendid job. Like till today, that is her most iconic role.
Truly. She's
Fine,
your number
fine.
three.
So hear me out, guys. It's not as sexy as Sanket's picks, obviously, but Band Baja Barat, Ranveer Singh.
It has one of the uh I'm not talking about the sex scene, but it has one of the most hottest lip locks, as people like to call
Absolutely.
in the end.
Absolutely. What a hot lip lock. Um, and I think at this point of time, have I watched Jab We Met? I watched Jab We Met. So Jab We Met has this beautiful kissing scene in the end. It's very sweet, very cute. And then Band Baja Bharat comes along and say, you know what? We're going to take it one step further. And this is my lifelong obsession with the good guys. This movie is the advent of that, where uh, there are these two people. They're running a business, a wedding business, and this guy is kind of like he's aimless. He just kind of joins this girl who has this idea of running a wedding business successfully, and he's like, you know what? Like I have a lot of business ideas, but I'm just gonna like follow your suit, and I'm just gonna do what you tell me to do. And they start on a business, and there is so much admiration and respect for her in his eyes, where they have a drunken night, they start kissing, they make love. And I think that kissing scene is one of the, I don't know, it's one of the most erotic scenes for me because they are celebrating something. Like their business is taking off. They're these two young entrepreneurs, they're celebrating something. And up until this moment, there's a lot of chemistry between them and really sweet, very underrated moments in Hindi cinema, which you don't see, because a hero showing any appreciation for a heroine in Hindi cinema generally boils down to her looks, her sexiness, her the way she dances or something like that. But this is like it starts off with him trying to hit on her in a wedding, in a wedding when he first time sees her, and then re- recognizing that this is a woman with a lot of ambition, a lot of intent, wants to do something very useful with her life, and he kind of gets inspired by her. So there's a scene where she's like hopping around and she's doing work, and he kind of like holds her hand and he drags her and he makes her sit down. And he's like, "You have to eat something. You've not even had one biscuit since morning. तूने सुबह से एक biscuit तक नहीं खाया है." And I thought that is like so cute. Like, he's concerned that she's not had a bite to eat and he makes her eat food. And I don't know, there's something so unreasonably, like, unreasonably hot about that to me, at least, because I have never seen that kind of storytelling since Band Baja Bharat. I never saw that kind of storytelling till Band Baja Bharat. Like it was its only kind, and it never came back, unfortunately.
Yep.
Um, and to show sexual attraction or to show chemistry between two characters who are not doing anything sexy. Like there's a scene where they're setting up for a wedding the next day and they have like this office, and the girl kind of calls up her parents because they don't know where she is, and it's like, you know what, it's going to take us a while to like get everything set up, so I'm just going to sleep in the office over here, and I'm here with Bittu is the protagonist name, that's played by Ranveer Singh, and I'm just going to sleep here with Bittu. And they have like these small separated beds and they're just sleeping. They're not doing anything, they're just sleeping like somewhere close to each other in a really small room. And the scene ends, and I thought that was so hot, like, oh my god, what's going to happen, what's going on, like, because there's no intent, there is no intent of falling in love, there's no intent of sexual tension, that like typically how sexual tension is described. It's just about a guy admiring a girl so much, having so much respect for her, that after they do have sex, he immediately regrets it because he's like, oh my god, she's my business partner, and what have I done? Like, this is so stupid. Like, she had only one rule, that we should not be like, falling in love with each other and stuff like that. And I've completely messed that up. And he distances himself over that just to kind of revive, or bring back the dynamic of respect between the two of them that he has for her. And I have not seen that. Ranveer Singh is like so handsome and so cute in that movie. Like I can't. And I think later on you see that the chemistry kind of repeat in not Ricky Bell versus ladies. Um, you know which movie I'm talking about? Dil Dhadakne Do. You see
Mm.
that very fresh young love between them again, where they're swimming towards each other in a swimming pool and then swimming away.
Oh yeah. From the perspective of that doggy.
From the perspective of the dog, yeah, like you see Ranveer Singh and Anushka Kapoor, who are again the same actors from Band Baja
Anushka
Bharat.
Sharma.
Sorry, Anushka Sharma, my bad. Anushka Sharma, kind of swimming towards each other, and they're taking laps, and it's like, of course, that's not sexual awakening because I'm a proper adult by the time I watched this movie, but Band Baja Bharat like kind of set up that precedent of like sexual tension that happens behind the scenes, that to everybody else is very evident except to the two people who are in it, like they don't realize it. So I don't know, I
Mhm.
was very very impressed, very very, um still sits in my mind as like a top memory for Ranveer Singh, for my ongoing love for Ranveer Singh. If you guys have not watched that movie, please check out Band Baja Barat. You will not be disappointed. It's one of its kind.
I like, is it like, I don't remember any other sex scene in Bollywood that was initiated by the woman.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Absolutely. Like I don't think there was. I only wish the one thing I wish now as an adult is that I wish they were not drunk. I wish they just showed her going for it because she wanted to go for it, Like, but yeah, you're right. I think it's if there is
I
another,
think,
I don't.
like, I understand what you're saying, and that makes complete sense. But I think it was necessary for the conflict to happen. It's like conflict for bit two.
Mhm.
It was a big conflict for bit two, right? Like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
him, it only happened because they were drunk,
They were drunk. Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
he could like uh straight reject it
Yeah,
just based on the fact that they were drunk.
yeah, that's true. I also feel that that story brings to focus like all the things that happen in the name of alcohol. Like, oh, we were drunk. We should have done that. We were drunk. Come on, you were thinking it.
Yeah,
Your drunken self is an exaggerated version of your sober self, but you've thought it. You wanted to act on it, and they clearly show him also being attracted to her in the beginning of the movie, where he sees her in a wedding and she's dancing, and he tries to impress her, but it doesn't work out. And I don't know, there are these very core moments in the movie which are very sweet and extremely sexy for no rhyme or reason, but it's worth watching just because of those characters. Like, and Sant is right. To see a woman initiate a kiss, initiate intimacy in a way that she wants it, not in a way which is like, like, oh, like I'm in love with you or something. No,
yeah, not just for companionship's sake.
not just for companionship, like genuinely because I am turned on by you. That is, I don't know, that is phenomenal. And it has not happened since Band Baja Bharat. It hasn't. Let's be very
Yes, it's 2022 where we are watching a fair amount of uh women writing women and
yeah.
women oriented stories, but still I don't remember anything.
Oh, wait. What about Queen?
Yeah, but that was a kiss. I'm talking about like
Actually,
intimacy.
Queen was not initiated by her. Said we are best at everything. Like even Imran Hashmi is the best kisser. Like if that is considered initiation, sure she started it. But then he's like, oh yeah, you think you're the best kisser? I think he kind of like, plays with her to like get her to kiss him. But yeah, not since Band Baja Barat, guys. It is
Yeah,
sexy, start to finish. It is a great film, great romance, great chemistry. Definitely part of my sexual awakening passage of passage, rite of passage. Um,
I
uh,
agree. I
yeah,
I
mhm,
think it's still one of the best kissing scenes
absolutely,
of Bollywood. Yash Raj
absolutely.
was in a role showing sensuality. I think it happened in Salam Namaste. Then
Oh, yeah.
Kurban had that scene with Kareena Kapoor and Saif.
Yeah.
There was another one. I'm missing something.
What about
Never mind.
Bunty or Bubbly or anything that happened
Auntie
in
or Bubbly.
Cuba between Abhishek Bachchan and Rani Mukherjee? Oh my God. What in the
Yeah.
wild hell was going on between them? Anything they did was sexy. Anything. There's a stupid song where they're running around in like cricket sweaters, and even that they are sexy.
Yeah. Too awkward to watch it with parents. Even Band Baja Barat, I think I remember
Can't
like
watch Band
leaving.
Baja Barat with my parents. I
Yeah,
can't.
I remember I knew the sex scene was coming, so I remember walking out of the room to
Okay, is
go
this
to
a
the other
thing
room.
amongst like Indian men? Because my father would always leave the room. He still leaves the room. If there's a kissing
If
scene, he'll like get up and leave the room.
if I would be watching it with my father, I wouldn't do that, but I think it's with the
With
other
your
gendered parent.
other
Yeah. I don't know why. It's just hard to
like you
confront
don't
the
even
other
want to
gender.
call her mom. It's like the other parent of mine who's not my dad. That one.
Like the opposite gendered parent. It's always tough to confront the opposite gender pair.
I remember in uh, my dad. Uh, he really he also, like you, loves Hrithik Roshan. Like anything Hrithik Roshan does is golden to him. So remember that the first movie that came out of Hrithik Roshan, Kaho Na Pyar Hai.
Yes.
So there's this scene where they're like on the beach, they're stranded, and then they kind of like accidentally kiss each other. My father's like, I have to go and get samosas. And my mother's like, we have samosas. No, I have to go get more samosas. And we just like left the theater. And I'm just like, oh my God, what is this? Like, it's unbelievable. The more I think about it, I'm so surprised neither you or me mentioned Titanic or anything that had uh or
No, that's
mention Emma Watson. That's so weird to me.
Emma Watson hasn't done any risque scenes.
I see what you mean. Okay, okay.
And Titanic, I I saw it in India, no? So
So
it
did my
was
parents.
so I saw it in India, so a lot of scenes were cut.
So
We
was it
didn't have
censored?
we didn't have the PG-13 movies.
Really? Then what was my mother covering my eyes for all the time? For the kissing?
Uh,
Could be for the kissing. Because a number of times the two of them have watched that movie. My God. They've watched it thrice in the theater, 5 times on television whenever it showed up, at least to my memory. And that's the most I think my parents have rewatched a film. But
but
yeah,
yeah, when we are talking about PG-13 movies, it is PG-13 movies. There's nothing sensual about it. But yeah, the hands on glass, steaming glass, that was hot.
hand on glass. I know that was everybody's thing, right? To the point where whenever it was like fucking winter or like there was a steamy glass or anything, people would just like put their hand and like slide it out and laugh at that glass
Yeah.
thing. Like
If
why?
it
Like
was
that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen happen.
if it was released today, it would have become a TikTok trend.
Oh yeah, I know. I just did the hand motion myself just now. But yeah, guys, this is our top movies.
Do it on the camera only so that I can't see you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. No, but thanks. He had to slide one stupid joke in, but that's fine. Um,
Do
I'm
it on
just
your
gonna.
face only. Don't do it on the screen. Be Manoj Kumar for the rest of the episode.
That was some. Can you imagine? Think about this. Um, Manoj Kumar, Dev Anand, they were all part of somebody's rite of passage.
What?
We just those heroes when they were heroes in their time. Manoj Kumar was somebody's part of sexual, like someone's sexual awakening.
Oh yeah, yeah. So
You know what I mean?
that's what we wonder. Like when we get old and become like 60, would we still find Priyanka Chopra hot?
I think Priyanka Chopra is hot. Like she just got hotter. She's the
Yeah.
one person who got hotter. Like I feel now when I see her 20 something pictures, I'm like I cringe because I'm like, my God, she looks so ordinary in comparison to what she looks like now. She looks amazing now, Priyanka Chopra. Like so pretty.
Priyanka
Um,
Chopra for Basic Instinct remake.
oh,
Make it a thing.
absolutely. She would make a fantastic siren. I think she proved that in Aetras, didn't she? She did a very good job as a
Oh yeah,
vamp
yeah.
type of person over
I
there.
think that solidified her as a proper actress and not just
Yeah,
a convert from Miss World.
absolutely. Like fantastic. Oh, what about Satkun Maaf, man? Talk about siren. Literally killing people.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Killing
but yeah,
people uh because of necessity and then like actually killing people just for the sake of it.
just for the sake of it. Yeah, but yeah, guys, we're gonna wind this one up. We love you. We know you're watching. We really appreciate all the views you're giving us, all the clicks you're giving us, all the support you're giving us. Please like more, subscribe. A lot of you are not subscribing. You're watching, but you're not subscribing, guys. Come on, just subscribe and show Sunk and me some love in your comments and give us suggestions because we frankly just want your opinions about what you want to talk about because it looks like you like our picks, but think about this. Think about you giving us a topic that is dear to you, and then we can play off of your suggestions. Wouldn't that be awesome? So, I don't know, reach out to us, let us know. And we will see you soon. Bye bye.
Shabala.